Randy Travis once accidentally put Chuck Norris, the greatest martial artist in Hollywood, into a headlock, and what happened next tells you everything about who Chuck Norris really was. Two American legends, one from the dusty plains of Oklahoma, who became the world's most feared martial artist, and one of Hollywood's greatest action icons. From the rolling hills of North Carolina, whose voice became the sound of a generation and whose music defined an entire era of country music. Chuck Norris, Randy Travis, two men whose paths had no business crossing, and yet somehow, on a 1993 television movie set in the American West, they found each other. And what they built over the next 3 decades was something neither of them ever talked about publicly. Until now. Following the sudden passing of Chuck Norris on March 19, 2026, Randy Travis stepped forward, and what he said about his friend, his brother, stopped the world cold. Before we get into Randy Travis's tribute, you need to understand who these two men are, because the friendship between them only makes sense when you understand what they each represent. Chuck Norris, born in Ryan, Oklahoma in 1940, a man who pulled himself up from nothing through military service, through martial arts discipline, through sheer unstoppable will, and became one of the most recognizable faces in the world. 6 consecutive martial arts championships, over 60 films, 8 seasons of Walker, Texas Ranger, a legend whose name became synonymous with strength, courage, and the very best of the American spirit. Randy Travis. Born in Marshville, North Carolina in 1959, a man whose road to stardom was anything but smooth, who faced rejection after rejection in Nashville before one song changed everything. Forever and ever, amen. Deeper than the holler. I Told You So, a voice so pure, so honest, so deeply American that it stopped people in their tracks the first time they heard it. Two men, two completely different worlds, both representing something that goes to the very core of what America is supposed to be. Hard work, faith, integrity. The belief that who you become is always a choice. And in 1993, their worlds collided. Wind in the Wire, a 1993 CBS television movie set in the American West, starring Chuck Norris as a Texas Ranger and featuring Randy Travis in a role that brought his country music storytelling directly to the screen. It was not the biggest production either man had ever been part of. It was not a blockbuster. It was not a Grammy-nominated album. But it was something more valuable than either of those things. It was the beginning of a friendship that would last over 30 years. Randy Travis's Instagram tribute included a photograph of the two men riding horses together, side by side, on that set in 1993. Two American icons, completely at home in the saddle, completely at home with each other. And alongside that photograph, a video clip of their action scene from Wind in the Wire. Two men who both understood in their bones what it meant to be tough and tender at the same time. That set was where Chuck Norris became more than a film hero to Randy Travis. He became a brother. Randy Travis described Chuck Norris as a brother figure. Not a colleague, not a co-star, not even just a friend. A brother. And over 3 decades, the two men built a friendship that the world almost never saw. Because neither of them needed the cameras for it. Neither of them needed the publicity. Neither of them needed anything from the other except the other's company. They shared laughs, real laughs, the kind that happen between people who genuinely know each other and genuinely love each other. They shared life advice, the kind of advice that only comes from someone who has lived enough to know what matters and what does not. And then, there's the detail that will make you smile through every tear in this video. Martial arts sparring sessions. Randy Travis, the voice of country music, the man who sang about eternal love and mountain streams, and the kind of devotion that never fades. That man got into a martial arts sparring session with Chuck Norris, and in one of those sessions, Randy Travis accidentally put the greatest martial artist in Hollywood history into a headlock. Pause for effect, Chuck Norris. In a headlock, courtesy of Randy Travis. Now that is a friendship. And the fact that Chuck Norris clearly let it happen, or at the very least laughed about it afterwards, tells you everything you need to know about who he was behind closed doors. The warrior could laugh at himself. The champion could be vulnerable. The legend could be a friend. That was the Chuck Norris that Randy Travis knew, but it was not the headlock story that made Randy Travis's tribute go viral. It was one sentence, and 7 words that captured something about Chuck Norris that no action sequence, no box office number, no meme or joke or legend had ever quite managed to say. Randy Travis wrote, "The gentle strength in Chuck Norris is simply the heart of America." The gentle strength. About those 2 words together, gentle, strength. In a man the world spent 50 years associating with power, toughness, and an almost supernatural ability to defeat any enemy. And yet, The man who knew him best, the man who sparred with him and rode horses with him and laughed with him and received his life advice for 30 years. That man chose the word gentle first. Gentle strength. That is the tribute of someone who truly saw another person. Not the image, not the legend, not the Hollywood construction, the man. And Randy Travis saw a man whose strength was rooted in gentleness, whose toughness was wrapped around a tender heart, whose warrior exterior, just like his daughter Danielle said, was matched by love on the inside. Gentle strength, the heart of America. Those 7 words are the most complete tribute Chuck Norris ever received. And then Randy Travis gave us one more gift. He shared something Chuck Norris told him, a piece of advice that Norris clearly lived by, and that Travis clearly carried with him through everything that followed, including his own unimaginable journey. Because if you know Randy Travis's story, you know that in 2013 he suffered a massive stroke that left him fighting for his life and robbed him of his ability to speak and sing for years. A battle every bit as courageous and every bit as grueling as anything Chuck Norris ever faced on screen. And through that battle, Randy Travis held on to these words from his friend. Life isn't easy, but it is fair. We get to choose who and what we want to become. But it is fair. We get to choose. That philosophy, simple, clear, unshakable, is the foundation of everything Chuck Norris built. From the boy in Oklahoma who had nothing, to the Air Force serviceman who found martial arts in South Korea, to the Hollywood icon who never forgot where he came from or who he wanted to be. He chose, every single day, who he wanted to become. And he became the finest man his son ever knew. The safe person his daughter always had. The papa who cheered at soccer games. The brother who let Randy Travis put him in a headlock and laughed about it. He chose all of that. And now, thanks to Randy Travis, we know exactly what that choice looked like from the inside. One more thing needs to be said, because the fact that Randy Travis was able to post this tribute at all is itself a miracle. In July 2013, Randy Travis suffered a catastrophic stroke caused by viral cardiomyopathy. He was placed in a medically induced coma. His survival was not guaranteed, and when he did survive, the road back was longer and harder than anything his fans could have imagined. His voice, that extraordinary, irreplaceable voice, was gone for years. His ability to speak was gone. And yet, slowly, painfully, miraculously, Randy Travis came back. Not all the way, not to where he was, but back. Back to his wife, back to the people he loved, and back clearly to the friendship with Chuck Norris that had meant so much to him for 3 decades. 2 men who both knew what it meant to fight for your life. 2 men who both understood from lived experience that life is not easy, but it is fair, and we get to choose. Chuck Norris and Randy Travis, a martial arts champion and a country music legend, a Hollywood action hero and the voice of a generation. 2 men from completely different worlds who found each other on a Western movie set in 1993 and never let go. They rode horses together, they sparred together, they laughed together, they shared life advice that carried each of them through the hardest moments of their lives. And when Chuck Norris was gone, Randy Travis found his words. The gentle strength in Chuck Norris is simply the heart of America. That sentence will outlast every roundhouse kick, every Walker Texas Ranger episode, every Chuck Norris fact the internet ever invented, because it is the truest thing anyone ever said about him. He was gentle, he was strong. He chose every single day who he wanted to become, and he became the heart of America. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Your brother Randy misses you, and so does the whole world.